welcome back to my channel. Uh, Today we're going to be talking about Amazon Prime's The Boys. Now, I have been waiting for months to watch this show, and I finally got around to watching the first episode. And within the first 6 minutes, I was hooked. I was hooked. I already had high hopes for it, and it did not disappoint, let me tell you. Man, so basically, I would say the climax of that episode is when Huey's girlfriend basically explodes in the street. Well, she's not in the street. One step off of the sidewalk by A-Train. A-Train, he's like the Flash, basically. And he just runs right through her, and she just, that's it. Blood, bone, everything is just all over the place, splattered. It gets on to Huey, and it's just like the most horrific thing, one of the most horrific things you could imagine happening to you. Oh my gosh. And then all A-Train says is, I can't stop, right? Is that what he says? He said, I can't stop. I can't stop. I can't stop. And he just keeps going. He doesn't apologize, nothing. Oh man, so that whole first half of the episode is basically, how Huey is dealing with that. And so these superheroes, they work for Vought, and, Vought contacts him. They want him to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, saying that he won't talk about it. They'll give him some money, and he won't talk about it at all to no one, no press about what happened. So he's like, listen, I'm not signing this. That's not what he says at all. He says, give me some time. Because, can you imagine that? He's looking down, and all he sees left of his girlfriend is her hands in his hands. He's holding her hands, her forearms in his hands. Can you imagine that? And they want him to just, sign something, take $45,000, which is a good chunk of change. But, for what happened, my goodness. So anyway, he ends up meeting the butcher, right? The butcher goes into his electronics store. Huey is a worker in the store. The butcher goes in there and says, listen, heard about what happened to you. I can help. Let's try to help each other. So the butcher wants him to basically plant a bug into Vought headquarters so that he can listen in on what's going on the inside. It's heavily, guarded. It's like a fortress basically in there. But Huey might be his only chance in order to get some ears inside of Vought. The butcher wants to take down the 7. He thinks they're a bunch of crooks. All of them. Every single one of them, he thinks they're a bunch of crooks, and he wants to take them down. We don't know why yet. There's some kind of vendetta there. There's some kind of history. The episode doesn't touch on the history. Obviously, we're going to get that in the upcoming episodes, but it doesn't really touch on that. Right now, it's more of it seems like more of an origin story for Huey. That's what it seems like this episode is. And that would make sense. We have to know what is pushing him in order to do this. We have to know. And it's obviously the brutal death of his girlfriend. She didn't suffer. That's the one good thing about it. It was like, a fraction of a second. She didn't suffer, so that's good. So with some reluctancy, Huey agrees to, go in and plant the bug. Come to find out, Translucent, who is invisible, is in the bathroom, naked in the bathroom, but he is invisible, and he sees what Huey is about to do. Huey drops the bug. He sees the bug. He follows Huey. He follows Huey back home now. Well, not back home, sorry. He follows Huey back to his job at the electronics store, and he confronts him. It's a violent confrontation, but the butcher, I'm convinced the butcher knew that this was going to happen. He knew that Translucent was going to be in the bathroom. He knew that he was going to see it, and he banked on him, trying to figure out what happened, what was going on, and following him and Huey back to the electronics store. So when translucent, sorry, is, basically he got Huey a few times, a few punches in, and the butcher, goes in to save the day, and he confronts Translucent. They get into it. Huey electrocutes Translucent, and that's how that ends. But there is a scene where like the CEO of Vought or something like that, or their leader, well, not their leader, but um, the person that they take orders from, Stillwell, she meets the mayor of Baltimore, and she wants to negotiate on Nubian Prince being Baltimore's new superhero, but for a 3-year contract for $300 million per year. So the mayor of Baltimore is like, listen, that's you got to come down the price a little bit. So she's like, I don't know. And then the mayor, he throws in, I heard something about Compound V. It could be a rumor, but, hey, so basically it's like a little bit of blackmail. You know what I mean? Vought is like, listen, we don't want any bad publicity for our superheroes. So by him even hinting at Compound V, that's already like, what are we going to do to, fix this? But if you notice in that scene, they are like basically in front of a window. If you look out that window, you see Homelander going back and forth, flying outside the window. At the end of the episode now, the mayor of Baltimore is in a private jet with his son and some other, people, maybe his, political, whatever. They're in the plane. Homelander is outside, and Homelander takes down that plane. He basically makes the plane. He cuts it in half with his X-ray vision, his heat vision, whatever it is. Cuts it in half and just takes out the whole plane. And that's crazy because earlier in the episode, when the butcher was talking to Huey, Huey was basically like, so all 7 of them are crooks? And the butcher was like, 6 of them. We don't have anything on Homelander. He doesn't have anything on Homelander. Homelander is like a saint. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He has nothing on Homelander. And then we see Homelander kill these innocent people. So it's almost like, the person who's the most innocent, seemingly the most innocent, is the most dangerous of all. So obviously, since it's still just the first episode, they're gonna get more into that. So I'm interested in looking and seeing how, how much more dangerous, you know, is Homelander, and how reckless he is. So I'm looking forward to that. What else happened? We saw the scene between Starlight and the Deep. Unfortunately, that's a reality for a lot of people. But, this is a mini spoiler. I did read in Wikipedia about The Boys. I did. I found out that The Boys is actually a comic, a graphic novel. Um, it was created in 2006, and it ended in 2012, and it had 72 issues. So I read a little bit about it. I try not to read too much because I don't even want to spoil it that much for myself. I don't want to ruin the shock value of these episodes, but I read a little bit of it, and in the actual graphic novel, instead of Starlight being, propositioned by the Deep and being sexually harassed by the Deep, it's actually Homelander instead. So I thought that was interesting because I want to know why they choose to make it the Deep instead of Homelander. So that's pretty interesting. I'm interested in looking and seeing how they develop those characters. And I didn't see, oh no, I did see a lot about the Deep in there. Yeah, I just scrolled right through it. I really did not want to ruin it for myself. But in the Wikipedia, I didn't see too much about translucent, which was interesting. Maybe at the end of the series, I'll go back and actually read it fully and do a little bit more research. But I really don't want to ruin it because it's that good. You know, even though I'm all about spoilers, give me a good spoiler and I'm happy. I really don't want to ruin this one. Um, but yeah, man, like this episode, like it did not disappoint at all. The only thing I am looking forward to seeing how they transition from season 1 into season 2. I hope it's not like lackluster. I hope they don't lose momentum. Whoever is writing the script, I mean, I know they have the graphic novel to work off of. I, I don't think that they're gonna, do everything word for word, scene for scene. They're gonna, mix it up a little bit. Obviously, they already did that with the Deep and Homelander and Starlight, but I'm very interested to see how they are gonna keep that momentum going. That's gonna be very interesting. I'm really glad that I don't know. I just feel so happy for this series, and I like the fact that Amazon Prime gives you the whole season. I really like that. Instead of having to wait 1 week for one episode, the next week for the following episode, I am so glad. So I can just sit down one night and get like 2 episodes out of the way. The next night I can get 3. You know what I mean? It's up to me how much I want to watch. So that's great. But that will do it for this review impression with spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode, please go watch it, because even just me talking about it does not do it justice. You have to actually see it, the images. You have to see the effects. You have to see it. I know there's a lot going on. There's a lot to uncover. Very excited. Very excited. If you have seen it, let me know in the comments what you thought about this episode. If you've seen the rest of the episodes, please. I know this is a spoiler channel, but try not to spoil it too much. But even though I'll probably read it anyway. But let me know how you felt about this episode. What did you think about Huey's girlfriend, like her death? My gosh, like it was really graphic, and it was like cool to watch, like for real. But yes, let me know what you guys thought about it. And I'll see you guys next time.